How are you guys doing? Uh, yeah, today I wanted to talk about things we don't know. That's the topic today. Things we don't know, or things we know nothing about, or yeah, like, or sometimes we pretend we know, but we don't really know. Like starting from big things, like is is this world a simulation? I know this topic have been discussed like a lot recently all around from people like popular people like Elon Musk and Nick Bostrom and everyone to I don't know every fucking YouTuber and radio guys and everyone. So yeah, I also have some thoughts on this because yeah, uh, like the general argument which, for example, Elon Musk gives on this general thought process is that the way the speed at which I don't know whatever speed this technology is moving, especially like stuff like virtual reality and computer environment simulations, all of these are going they're becoming more and more realistic, more and more I don't know photorealistic or more and more closer to looking real. Just think about the games from 10 years ago and games you have today, like even fucking Sims and everything. Fucking they're so real, and especially with virtual reality. The first time I fucking tried that headset, I was uh yeah, I wasn't sure to keep even my balance, and I was totally like disoriented or disbalanced, whatever you like. Your sense of orientation of world around you is lost because it's overtaken by that because it is that realistic enough for our senses. So yeah, when it's just gonna continue to become more and more of that. So I don't know. There are some of the games and VR headsets and all that stuff. They have already become this good, and yeah, within like let's say I don't know, just 2 3 years, the speed at which it's developing, we'll have something so close to reality. You know that I don't know. So whatever, like instead of not just the games, but this is gonna be applied in everything like healthcare and I don't know design of architecture and arts, and this can be used in everything, man. So trainings, education, yeah. So this VR stuff can become, if it can become so close to reality, if whatever speed, the argument which Elon Musk gives is after a while you won't be able to distinguish at all between reality and simulated environments. And just think about if we don't know if there are other civilizations have been before us or are there, because we are still so limited in our knowledge of life, the origin of life or life outside Earth, other than Earth. So yeah, we are still limited in that. So who can say that there haven't been a civilization already who have gone through the similar progress of technology, and they have made something realistic, and like in few decades we'll have these simulations and the characters in them won't know, they will feel it's realistic and reality. That's what them. Who's to say that we are not in one of those simulations which have been made by other civilizations? Because we don't know shit when we are created and when we are I don't know people before we die, before we yeah, and we die, we are born, we have figured out this biological stuff, how we are embryo is created, how we take birth in reproduction and all that. and we get decomposed. But there's just could be the rules of this simulation, to keep things organized and all that, to give it a story instead of just, yeah. So we don't know shit about this, and we could be a simulation totally. Just, I don't know, what do you guys think? How can we even come close to finding out, even if we are or not, irrespective of that? How can we find? Because, yeah, we are inherently limited to observe stuff outside our dimension of our senses. Yeah. So that thing, somehow it makes me sometimes positive, sometimes, I don't know, gives me the sense of disillusionment as well. So yeah. So yes, thinking about that, another thing we don't know at all is how life is originated, first time here. Even if it's a simulation or not, I don't know. Just think about, okay, let's say it's not a simulation, and how life generated all that. We don't know yet. We know there have been atoms and, I don't know, the smallest quarks and subatomic particles, and then we have from like single cellular organism, bacteria, whatever, to complex organisms, organized creatures like humans and mammals and all that. But how something goes from not live to live? We know there have been these constituents. We have not yet known all of the stuff, but we know, for example, in our body, if we take all of this stuff part by part and just put it together, will it make someone alive? No, it won't, like, because if someone dies and because of their heart being not functional, and after he dies, you put it back a healthy, put a transplant a healthy heart into that body, it won't come back, so we don't know the secret fucking source, or what makes something alive after all these things come together. We know the parts and components and all that. We know their specific functions and their functions together and everything. So yeah, we right. So okay, so yeah, this argument might not be like the most rigorous argument. It's just a simple, I don't know, thought experiment. But yeah, what makes the one sperm and oval meeting together, and I don't know what makes from atoms and subatomic particles and all that matter into something alive. One, like, one thing we like to say, the distinction is consciousness. Live and not live, they are just self-functioning, self-organizing body entities or whatever, and others are not, like I don't know, a chair or a book, and or a bottle or a cup can't take care of itself and can't doesn't do things for itself, while a small mouse does, or it goes to find food for itself. It looks to survive by avoiding predators and all that. So where does this fucking consciousness comes? All those could be okay. Drone can do that stuff also, like a mouse, but it doesn't have the consciousness of, I don't know. It's not. There here things become a bit gray, blurred the boundary, because you can also say, like, those are genes programmed into a mouse also, and it's just following those instincts. So even if it's alive, we call it alive, and a drone will do things programmed in it also. So what's the fucking difference? But yeah, so that means if we are able to make edge functional robot or AI system, whatever, as humans who can function as good as us, but that, okay, we have a lot of abstract stuff in this, so we won't be able to clearly know it. But think about think about a. That's the thing. When we think of other animals, we don't consider them conscious enough or something like that. Maybe because we think they are dumb when only their whole purpose is just the functions they provide. So they become equal to a robot which can provide the same functions. So a mechanical system. That's where I don't know. I think there's a fucking bias in that. Humans thinking they are the conscious ones, and I don't know, other animals, even animals are not. Forget about plants and all that. So we don't even know about this thing called consciousness. It's just probably something self-biased we have. But this is something which makes you think. I'll put this question out to you guys. What do you think is consciousness? Try to define it. Try to come up to the closest definition or distinct explanation or describe. Try to describe it and see if your description applies and not in a biased way but in the most unbiased way possible to animals and all the different creatures we have living and not living, and then we can start thinking about okay what fucking consciousness is, because for a general AI maybe one day we don't even know what consciousness is and we need to have that at least because we think alive humans have a consciousness. So for a general AI to reach human level intelligence or human level, maybe they will reach human level intelligence without having this consciousness thing with this elusive consciousness thing which we keep talking about. So I don't know what is consciousness. Like some people have this spiritual feeling. I'm going a bit way off from scientific explanation to more spiritual, but I guess maybe we need that here because scientific science just don't know what consciousness is yet. So spiritually, we'd say consciousness is something which is this eternal essence in some dimension or something which we can't describe, we can't observe through our physical senses. I don't know, and even thinking senses, but we can have through our spiritual senses, we can feel that. So it's probably some kind of higher dimension which are yet to be describable, which are too complex to describe yet from our current scientific knowledge. Yeah, I guess so. What they have is probably consciousness is a this higher dimension living entity or something which lives all the time, and bodies are like clothes for us. So that's going a little bit towards this philosophy of Eastern religions like Buddhism and Hinduism, where you get reincarnated. But I'm just trying to, I don't know, throw my thoughts out. It's a possibility, possibly what consciousness is, something like that. I don't know. Nobody knows about this shit. Like, so, even different religions have tried to tackle this thing before. Some of them, like Christianity, Islam, they say, okay, you go there and you have cool stuff as your consciousness, and the others say you come back. But still, all of them try to take this situation, this kind of position where they say, okay, there is something higher dimension which transcends physical boundaries and physical space-time boundaries, and yeah, so it projects that entity probably projects our physical existence which we live in our body is probably just a projection, one cycle of projection of that. So that's there. I'll leave it there. If you guys have some thoughts about this, if you, I don't know, in agreement or if you think I'm talking bullshit, just let me know in comments. Yeah, okay. We don't know a lot of this stuff, so yeah, I was thinking after a lot of this serious thought stuff, maybe let's have some non-serious stuff happening around in the world. For example, I was thinking I come through a lot of these. I'm reading some of these lot of strange or bizarre kind of news happening around in the world, these things. So I thought let's insert that, let's add that in today's thought soup bowl. Okay, so first one will be, okay, there is this woman in America, I don't know which state, or in a university where she strips to her, I don't know, underwear to to protest against a comment made by a professor. So she's probably PhD or master's. She's presenting her thesis, and during her presentation, professor probably said something like why she was wearing probably very short shorts or something like that. So she commented on that by saying, "Why are you wearing that? Or that's the kind of stuff you wanna wear?" And she said, okay, she was pissed off probably, or she felt she was being judged, or that's too conservative stuff. So she protested by going half naked, kind of in her thesis presentation, and I don't know how that. I don't know what I say about that. That's just bizarre. You can't say to be in support of that or not to be in support of that. It just that's it. And she actually managed to find managed to get some of the other students who were in the audience to support her. Probably, I think, maybe, I don't know if she planned that or something. You guys can check this out. This news, it's real. I'm not joking. And okay, then there is another news. We have there is a new law being passed in Kansas State where they say cops can have sex during traffic stops. So I don't know. Maybe Kansas cops are having a lot of time and they're partnered with, I don't know. Maybe they're partnered with. There's a lot of office relations going on there in Kansas Police Department. But anyway, that's kind of bizarre that they had to make a law about it, especially especially for cops. Hmm. Okay, there's another thing called uh, in India. There's a there are two guys who actually conned a investor by saying stuff like impersonating as pretending to be from NASA or from a NASA program or a company, NASA backed company. And after they were found out, the police actually embarrassed those guys by arresting them with spacesuits, after making them wear spacesuits. So that's that's a bit bizarre. I don't know. Just to then there's photos in the media to with them two guys wearing spacesuits like these silver spacesuits like the fucking old sci-fi movies of 70s and yeah, so that's fucking bizarre. I don't know. This is real also. I might have one more bizarre news story from this week, and that's probably, oh yeah, someone in the someone in Canada, I guess. It's probably an activist or lawmaker or someone. They were protested. Oh yeah, I think they're child rights activists or something like that. They protested that, or they proposed that just to teach consent to our kids, they should be. You need to ask them before changing or removing or diaper of your kid. So he feels more the value of consent, and he feels, I don't know, if I can't say the intention behind that is wrong, but yeah, that's kind of bizarre for a kid to be having that kind of judgment level at that, to make use of this right if he gets that. So that's another bizarre news story from this week. All right, guys. So that's all for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Let me know in the comment section what do you guys think about it, or if I'm too shitty, what should I change about it? Okay, next.